All right, everyone. The Democratic frontrunner, who is now Elizabeth Warren, has another issue. A new thing has come out that she's been claiming to crowd after crowd that when she was younger, when she was still a teenager, she got pregnant with her first child, and as a result, she lost a fairly decent position as a teacher. The problem is she already years ago told the true tale of this, which has nothing to do with her getting basically sacked for getting pregnant. It has to do with the fact that she got pregnant. She decided to move on and reevaluate her life and what she was going to do with it, what she wanted to be doing at that time, and she decided that teaching wasn't part of that. So basically, we've got another fairly major Elizabeth Warren lie here, only it's not getting any press. They learned from her, well, she learned, arguably, from her fake story about being Cherokee. She had told people for some time that she was of Native American extraction. She had high cheekbones and I guess likes beer too much, so somehow this made her ethnically different. It was never true. The Cherokee tribe itself came out and said, shut up, because you're not, you took a DNA test and it shows that you're 99.999, how many nines were in it, percent, European extraction, and that somewhere a dozen generations ago you might have a relative who could be Native American, but they could literally be, it could be from Peru or it could be from the Inuit, and we have no way of knowing. For some odd reason, Elizabeth Warren was insane enough to release that genetic test, and that was basically the death knell of any credibility she had as a politician. Somehow, though, she's managed to con a significant proportion of Democrats into thinking that it's a good idea to run her against Donald Trump. I disagree. Again, I think you're making a major mistake if you go with Warren. I still think that Buttigieg is the best candidate in the top tier of the field, and anyone down ballot at this point doesn't matter. It's too late in the race. We're heading on towards November. I don't know what to tell you. If you're Cory Booker or Beto O'Rourke, I don't understand why you keep heaping insult onto injury and staying in the field with 3 or 4% support, which guarantees you visibility, but usually in a negative context. Get out while you can and endorse somebody and hope that they win. You should just jump on the Warren bandwagon and see what happens. She'll lose, and you'll be a loser, but at least you won't have lost any primary states because you'll have gotten out before voting began. Here's the problem with Elizabeth Warren, though. In the internet era, there's a difference between something that gets mainstream coverage and something that is widely talked about. The problem for the corporate media is that by not reporting on it, what happens is people like me are the only ones spreading info about this, and we're sowing the seeds of people later on, potentially, if the story does go viral later, if they're forced to report on it during the general election because Donald Trump has called it out on a debate stage against Elizabeth Warren, when people are Googling, when people are looking up info about that phenomena, about that facet of politics, they're going to see a bunch of non-mainline content come up long before any mainline content is published, simply because it'll be preemptively there from months ago. This is becoming a feature within politics where this happens. Something is being talked about, but only in underground currents. When it gets popularized, those underground currents end up gaining power, actually, from the mainstream, specifically because it's finally being talked about. And it'd be on the live debate stage before anyone pens an article about it. There's a 20-30 minute gap, maybe. Even in an instantaneous news cycle, other than some tweets, anywhere else it's not instantaneous. It takes them a while to do some editing, some checking of that article. Not fact checking, but basic grammar check. It takes them 5 seconds to do it, but it's a little bit of time. Everything's instantaneous now. So if you get 100 videos up on YouTube about how Elizabeth Warren has been lying about this, and Donald Trump brings it up on the debate stage, well, the videos are already there for people to search for. That's going to red pill a lot of very politically active people, because the most politically inclined will be the first ones to Google it. They'll be the first ones to look it up. I think that this is a disaster for Elizabeth Warren, waiting to happen. She needs a PR campaign to deal with this, because she's clearly lied. Her own statements contradict one another. Her own prior statement before she was running for president is, got pregnant, I wanted to figure out what I was going to do with my life, and so I left teaching. Her new statement that she's apparently echoed over and over again in similar terms, she's even using the same buzz terms, this is because her focus group told her that this was a good story, even if it's a total lie, is that she got kicked out of school. And the idea is to get young female voters, especially from the lower class, to back her by saying, look, I know how it is. You're one orgasm away from being kicked out of your job or something. your slimy boss will kick you aside if you have lady lumps, something like that. You know, that doesn't often happen, mainly because it usually results in major lawsuits. There are some people that get mistreated that way, but Elizabethwarren's not one of them. I mean, she's a grifter. She's an opportunist of the highest order. She's got a pattern of behavior that shows that she's Clintonian in nature. She faked her ethnicity. She's faking having lost a job due to a pregnancy, which is like really disrespectful to women who actually have been in that boat, especially in that time period when it did actually happen more commonly before some of these protections took place. We're talking, she was young back in the 1970s, so keep that in mind. She's lied about being a grassroots candidate. She's not. She's got plenty of corporate money. She's spending it right now. She's just not soliciting it because she had so much. She has been setting herself up to run for the presidency for longer than this election cycle has been going on. She started this before 2016. Before the last election, she was already prepping for this one. She probably knew by 2014 the inside scoop. She knew Clinton was the one that was going to run. She stayed out because she didn't want to have to tangle with Clinton, and she wanted a favor from Clinton after endorsing her, which I believe she did fairly early. She endorses Clinton, runs around for her, campaigns. She gets that Clinton kiss the ring sweetheart deal. She gets a bunch of corporate money during the midterms to running for the Senate. She's basically running unopposed. The Republicans have no chance of unseating her. She's running for a Massachusetts seat in the Senate. Do you honestly think the Republicans wasted much effort? But she campaigns a lot anyway, mostly for money. Builds up a huge amount, spends almost none of it, and rolls it over into a presidential campaign. And it all came from big corporations. Grassroots support, my ass. Yeah, the people of Massachusetts really wanted to fund Elizabethwarren's guaranteed to win, 75-25 campaign. She won with an overwhelming majority. She didn't even need to step out of her house to win. I would have voted for Shiva myself, disagreeing with him on marijuana perhaps, but I think that he's a better person than Elizabethwarren. Also, he attended the free speech rally that got overrun by Antifa members that thought it was Nazis, which is funny because Shiva, of course, is not white, and most of the people there appeared to be Bernie Sanders fans, and they were like, oh, we need progressivism, tolerance, and environmentalism, and they had like banners, and they were standing behind Shiva at the time, and it was so great because this was a Nazi rally. Nazi rally was Shiva talking about free speech and then some Bernie Sanders fans getting together to talk about saving the whales. Now I'm thinking to myself how funny this was, and then they had the video where the like far left people were like marching across the venue, which had already been cleared like 10 minutes before, and they're trashing everything, and they were screaming about stopping hate. It was really funny. It was the best thing ever. Oh man, I can remember it like it was yesterday. I wish it was yesterday, because then Joe Biden would be able to remember it also. Warren's getting caught up in her own lies, though. She's strangulating herself at this point. The fact is she can't get her story straight. She claimed, well, I have high cheekbones. I'm part Cherokee, she said. Oh, no. I didn't say I was part Cherokee. I said I might be. My mom claimed it was so. Well, she looked at my cheekbones and determined that I was a Native American. What are you talking about? Oh, I got kicked out of my job because I got pregnant. Oh, no, actually, yeah, I was just reconsidering my life at the time. Because, not even 20. It's not exactly like the clock is ticking. I've already ticked one box. I've got a kid on the way. What do I want to do for the next, 18 years? I guess she decided to become a lying scuzzwad. And it's basically the story of her life. She's been doing it for a very long time. Very successfully. She's very, very good at branding herself. She's good at looking good for the cameras and taking corporate money and pretending to be grassroots. But it's all pretense. Like the Bernie Sanders fans, they understand this. I think by and large they know that Elizabethwarren is center left. She's a corporate hawk. She's a war hawk. She's a sellout and a liar. That's about all. Peace out.